We hung out with hawks and falcons here in downtown Detroit. It was actually hilarious watching people watch them here in Campus Marshes, which is a very rare sight, but these birds, we learned, have a very important job to do.
There's a starling there.
Falconry in the D. Birds of prey hard at work.
It's all right. That's a girl. That's a girl.
That's Ruth, a Harris hawk, and her partner, Yeti, the ScAIR Falcon.
We'll be around for about the next 7 months.
Who knew? Birds of prey, part of the NFL draft preparation here in downtown Detroit.
And then we're walking around with these birds, and we're using them as a visual cue to keep away starlings and pigeons from the area here.
Paul and Therese Thomas, partners in life, partners on the job. They own ScAIR Force Falconry, emphasis on ScAIR, called in by the company Bedrock Detroit to take care of this. Thousands and thousands of starlings invading buildings.
They sit there for 10 or 12 hours all night just pooping down the side of the building.
There's the poop, and they're just an overall nuisance. That's where Ruth and Yeti come in.
It'd be like if you were walking down the street and saw a dragon fly over. You know, very similar. That it strikes fear into their heart.
Trolling the area around Campus Marshes 5 evenings a week. Sounds and sights to scare off the starlings.
It'll take probably about a month to train them. That's essentially what we're doing. We're training them that you're not going to be able to sleep here. We're going to come through. We're going to shine lasers on you.
He did say lasers. That's part of this bird abatement too.
So I'm just going to start on this corner here, and I'll go across like this, and I'll move it real slow.
Ruth and Yeti outfitted with ankle cuffs, tethers, and a spot for a GPS, but they're trained well to come back to Paul and Therese.
The reason that they stay with us, the symbiotic relationship we built, is just they know we're a meal ticket.
The whole falconry thing, it works even for pigeons crashing our interview.
Logically
what's going to happen right now?
Come NFL draft time, the 4 Bedrock Detroit buildings they patrol will be ready for the masses.
We are honored to serve the good citizens of Detroit and the NFL draft and protect them from bird poop.
All right, an unusual patrol will be part of the mix as the city welcomes thousands of fans for the draft.
That's right. They are birds of prey on a mission to scare off other birds known for making a mess.
Tonight, 7 Action News reporter Brett Cast hit the streets with a dynamic duo.
If you find yourself downtown in Campus Marshes over the next few months, you may meet a few new friends. We got Yeti over here and Ruth right here. They're on patrol here in Campus Marshes, making sure it stays clean before the draft.
A fake call, but real birds. An effective combo on full display in downtown Detroit.
So we'll try a peregrine falcon and see if we can get a reaction. There's one leaving there.
At 16 years old, Paul Thomas found his love for falconry, turning his hobby into his company, ScAIR Force Falconry and Bird Abatement. He and his wife, Therese, have been hired by Bedrock to keep away pesky pigeons, starlings, and their poop before NFL fans arrive for the draft.
It's about the poop, right? Is that basically what it's about?
Well, you know, in sanitary conditions, and, you know, they pay a lot, I'm sure, to have the windows washed and the building's power washed.
This video from Bedrock shows part of the problem. Thomas says roughly 10,000 of these birds are descending into Campus Marshes, building nests and laying eggs along buildings.
But now, as we're going into spring, they're looking for nesting. So now that's why they're going up on the buildings.
And that's where the Thomas family comes in. Using everything, including laser beams, the team scares off birds at dusk before they settle in for the night.
If we can put them off of the buildings that we're in charge of at dusk and keep them off until dark, then that's 10 to 12 hours where they're not just sitting there pooping down the side of the building all night.
5 days a week for 30 weeks through the draft, the couple and their birds will be on patrol.
Really like rabbits, she must see a dog somewhere. Yep, there we are.
Keeping their eyes peeled, even going on rooftops. They aren't let loose to fly downtown, but all they have to do is flap their wings to make their presence known.
Strikes fear into their heart. They see that silhouette and they know that that is death if that gets their hands on them.
Scary but silent.
First.
Well, mostly silent. Just another team that's hard at work, so the city shines on the national stage.
We're really excited to get tied in with the draft and all that stuff. It's an exciting thing to happen to this town. We love the city and love the state, so it's kind of fun to get to be a part of all that.
You can come by and see Yeti and Ruth on patrol here in Campus Marshes Monday through Friday for the next 30 weeks around sunset. In Campus Martius, I'm Brett Cast, 7 Action News.
All right, Brett, I do hope I get the chance to meet them. Well, we'll be following the NFL draft every step of the way, leading up to the excitement beginning April 25th.
All right, just 8 days until Detroit takes over the sports world, and 2 secret weapons are being used to keep the city clean. Spoiler alert, they have beaks. CBS News Detroit's Luke Laster is on your block at Campus Martius with more.
Now, the players preparing for the NFL draft aren't the only ones touting a hefty resume. Meet Yahtzee, who has quite the responsibility when the NFL draft comes to town.
Is that a falcon or a hawk?
This one is a hawk.
Meet Cersei, the 7-year-old Harris Hawk. Strengths include teamwork and adaptability. Her trainer, Paul Thomas, says her NFL comparison, linebacker.
They're a very natural falconry bird, so they're easy to train. They come back very well.
And next we have Yahtzee the Falcon, the offensive threat. NFL comparison, running back.
Coming in, they can get hit 80 or 100 miles an hour when they're coming by.
Both of these birds of prey, though, have one job as we welcome the NFL draft to the Motor City. Poop duty. That's right. Thomas says these 2 birds essentially serve as scarecrows, perched on the arms of their owners, Paul and Therese, of ScAIR Force Falconry.
It's fun to come in and have to dissect what we have going on. We try different methods of bird control and finding out what works, and then finding those combinations and putting them together, and actually being able to control the birds in the area is kind of a challenge, and it's fun for us.
Contracted by Bedrock Detroit, these experts use various tools, aside from the birds of prey, to keep smaller birds from pooping all over the side of buildings and making a mess. Thomas says they've been at it a few weeks already and are contracted to be around for months following the draft.
It's been cool to really get to be a part of the draft and a part of the city that we love. One of our favorite parts of the job is just interacting with the people and talking to the people of Detroit and seeing their excitement with seeing the birds, and they've really embraced us.
In downtown Detroit, Luke Laster, CBS News, Detroit.
What will you do when
game, but actual game.
That is really funny.
More sports coming up, including falconers, hawk trainers. Do they call hawk trainers falconers? I'm familiar with the falconer term.
I don't know if all large bird
I think so.
people, if it's all falconry, even if it's not a
I watched
falcon.
a hawk yesterday take care of one of the Canada goose problems.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Hire him, bring him over
Took
here.
that little baby right off the ground.
You think there's a falconer out there who's like a badass falconer that doesn't use a glove?
Oh, no.
I don't believe in gloves.
They got to use a glove.
You know my story.
His name is Nerve Damage Eric.
Yeah.
He just doesn't care.
God.
Doesn't feel anything.
Without going into too much detail, our friend Haywood has a wonderful son, Coulter, good friend of the show, who was working on falconry.
Also, obviously, the Haywood Bank's insane gene.
And, and his buddy called him and said, "You got to get over here right away." And he had a bird claw through his hand.
Oh, God.
And they had to pry it off. But we do have that in the news,
In
falconry.
In sports.
And by the way, we were talking about geese yesterday and how much I hate them. Did anybody go out the main door when they left yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
Did you notice all the piles of goose poop on the stairs?
I did not.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
That.
Yeah, right there.
I go up and down the ramp now.
I go in a side door.
Hey, Mother's Day's right around the corner. You know what Mom really wants for
What
Mother's
does she
Day?
want?
A Raycon Everyday
Oh,
earbuds.
yeah.
You know that. Or
Yeah, so
any
she
of
can tune
Raycon's
you out.
unbelievable earbuds. So
You could have this show on and Mom could put those in and listen to...
oh, that's a
something
shame, honey. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Click.
What's coming up in sports?
Coming up in sports, we've got Falcons and Hawks, but not the Atlanta Falcons. These are like the actual bird Falcons. And it has something to do with the NFL draft.
This is the most bizarre story.
It's crazy. And more ballerinas today.
And bird people, please don't abandon us this morning because we also have drunken vultures in the news.
Yeah, we do.
Of all weird things. And I have a...
You mean like the drunken stork in the cartoon?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have a drink with the stork.
And I'm
bringing him, baby.
I have what maybe our most offensive and yet obscure reference musically, sonically coming up.
I cannot wait.
You're not going to believe it. And it'll be a quiz trivia thing. I think only Ace will get it.
Okay.
This is the Bob and Tom Show.
Add to or... Oh yeah, no, I joined. We're just different in age enough that they really picked up their game by the time I joined. I think.
Okay, because you said to buy like 5 crappy albums to get one good one.
Yeah, every now and then.
Why don't you guys just use Spotify? That seems so dumb that you just like,
kids.
I mean, you guys.
Those are different times.
Oh, hey, Pearl Jam's new album's out today.
Oh,
Dark
yeah?
Matters. Very good.
And Taylor Swift.
Very good. And Taylor Swift, a whole new album. Surprise album. Surprise. The NFL draft's coming up next week, he said, the sports guy said, and 2 trained birds of prey will be employed to keep Detroit's buildings and streets clear of bird poop. They're hosting the NFL draft next Thursday.
And now you're saying, wait a minute, how can birds clear bird poop?
They don't eat it, do they?
Yep. No, they don't eat it.
Oh.
According to CBS News, the owners of the birds, Paul and Therese Thomas of ScAIR Force Falconry, or ScAIR Force Falconry, I bet it is ScAIR Force Falconry, were contacted by Bedrock Detroit to have their hawk and falcon, Cersei and Yahtzee, shout out to Game of Thrones, keep smaller birds away to keep the producers of the duty away.
This business is doomed. It's a husband and wife, and then these birds are a couple as well. It's a perpetual double date. It's bound to go wrong.
That's true.
This is a dangerous territory.
You ever been in one of those? Well, the Griswolds want to go out with us again Friday night. I know. One of them falls out of favor with the other one, and then
I
you
can't
never see
talk
him
to
again.
that guy ever
I hate
again.
that guy. Yep, and that's what happens. So evidently, the hawk and the falcon are going to keep the smaller birds away from Detroit. They'll have a bird poo problem.
Wasn't there a place that just used the shrieks of the birds to keep them away?
A recording in downtown,
Yeah.
yes. I think you were, yes.
There's a place near me that does that.
They play a recording of the birds?
Yes, to keep the birds off of the
But
billboard that's right on the
do
property.
the real birds flap to the birds and go, get?
I don't see any birds around there, so I guess it works.
Get.
Actually, if you speak bird, is get.
Okay.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
What a weird story. Isn't that dangerous?
It's a very weird story. Well, it's either that or, snipers and...
Birds are hard to keep.
Are they hard to keep?
Yeah, I used to have birds.
Did you?
You like,
yeah.
What happened to your bird?
Well, I'm Frank Sinatra.
Oh, how's your bird, pal?
It's
Remember
tough keeping
Tom,
the
you were
birds
the one that
back
told me
in
that
the day.
story. Sinatra asked his friends, how's your bird?
How's your bird?
And he was
He was
talking
a
about their,
bird guy.
The male member.
the male member.
Whereas in England, the slang term for bird would be like a girlfriend. This bird is flown.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
What is that? Frank kept birds?
Oh, yeah. You want to hear about it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Thank you, Frank.
Egrets. Egrets, that's right. I've had a few.
Egrets.
You nailed it there.
And a drunk vulture who needed too much falcon attention.
That's right.
You know what I'm talking about.
You're saving it.
I put them in a doobie zoo. But they didn't like that form of detention. They want to live a life that's full and crap on cars, streets all over the place, on the highway. So I opened up the cages and let them fly away. That's a high note for this time of the morning.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, thank you very much.
God.
And you don't do interviews before noon because
No, I don't
you're not done throwing up to 11:30 like Dickie Betts. Okay, good.
I think that's all the birds we have. This sports story, though, listen to this.
Finally. As you've heard, this is my final show here at Local 4. Started here in 1986. That's 38 years. More makeup than anyone should be entitled to. And people want to know, what are you going to do next? After all, for the past 45 years, 7 in Washington, 38 here, I had my day filled from 2 in the afternoon till midnight with work. I'm just hoping I don't open the refrigerator, and when the light goes on, I start doing We've Got Highlights, right? I've been doing this since 1979, starting in, watch closely, Washington, D.C.
Glad you mentioned it. The Capitol Center, the final was 96-91. Washington was down by 11 at the end of 3 quarters. They cut it back to 2 with 28 seconds to play to 92-90.
That's the 10 o'clock news for this evening.
For Fred Knight.
Bernie.
Yeah, worked with some real good ones. Yeah, it was good ones, good ones. And by the way, I was not the illegitimate child of Sonny Bono. I just want you to know. Now, people always ask, is there one moment that stands out from your career at Local 4? Every day was amazing. How lucky am I to be doing exactly what I've wanted to do since I was 5 years old? I get paid to watch games. What could be better, honestly, right? But there are 2 moments that stand out. The first happened at the NFL draft. Someone thought we should have a couple of hawks on the set to scare the pigeons away on the set. Well, one of the birds had, we think, irritable bowel syndrome. and didn't tell anyone. As we like to say in my house, oi.
In round whatever, we'll let you know. So why are you hearing birds right now? Back to another behind-the-scenes story. This is so fascinating. I'm going to assume you haven't heard about this. Back to another behind-the-scenes story. This is so fascinating. I'm going to assume you haven't heard about this. So fascinating. I'm going to assume you haven't heard about this.
That's about as good a guy, don't you think? The highlight of the draft for me, I can say that.